Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for taking time out on Saturday. So today, because we're continuing to talk about Shiva and Shakti, the intent that I have put out while working for today's session is, and as I did last time session, is mainly to simplify any idea, any knowledge that we have into incorporating it into our daily lives, into bringing you into more awareness um, for what you're doing. So even last time when I did talk about Krishna and Vishnu, I just wanted to tell you how very simply you are the breath that he's given. You know, how does a spirituality aspect of it work with Krishna, the 1/4 and the 3/4 that we discussed, the seed of the universe, how you've come. So these very minor things that we are doing in our daily lives, but we don't really come into awareness of it. That's mainly where I like to focus. I know all of us have a lot of knowledge and theory, and we've read a lot of books and authors. But the question is, at the end of the day, when you look at bottom line, the question is, what exactly are you applying in your life? And that is something I choose to question because at some point in time in my life, I used to hear a lot of people give all of this knowledge and all, but I should not see a lot of it convert. So I think that's where I kind of function from. It's important I tell you that so that you can connect on similar lines and then, come in sync with what I'm about to continue. Today, I will focus on Shiv to Shankara. Shiv is the hermit, the ascetic, the Bhairagi, and Shankara is the householder named the man who sits with a family in a photo frame in your temple. So I'm going to start with very, very basic aspects of things. Okay. I'm going to look at a little bit of the symbolic aspect of it. So the first is Hindus worship a phallic. Okay. A lot of people are skeptical to talk about it because of XYZ inhibitions. But if you look beyond the idea of just that physical form over there, you'll understand what it is that that symbol is trying to communicate to you. Okay, one is the idea of what that holds over there, and second is your perception of it. So these two factors are there, but there are no simple reasons and answers to any of this. Each one has their own interpretation of things. Okay. All the people we have in Mytho have decided to talk about the various ideas in which we have spoken about the Shivling. And a lot of that has come from the Upanishads. So a lot of the theory that we talk about has come from the Upanishads, where we talk about, the importance of how to connect with the very statue of it. There is the aim also, but the aim is also to bring this idea to the common man, and that is possible only through story. Storytelling is what matters to a very large extent, and the way you put it. It's like the vessel is there, there's a glass, but what idea you put into it, what you fill into it, the water, that is what also makes a very, very large difference. Okay. So over here, the importance that I'm going to see is to see what is inside the shivling, the idea of it, and how to apply it. It's like a workshop where you learn everything that you go through, and then the question is how you apply this in daily life. Okay. So let's come to like the basic of you entering a temple and performing. So in a temple, you go, the rituals are performed, and you do it like a performance art. You light the diya, you do the agarbatti, you put the ash on him. Some people put the dhatura, which is a poisonous plant. The bilva leaves is also there. So you go over there and you perform that entire act wholeheartedly. Now what I want you to realize is, and while you are listening to me, somewhere in the eye, in your mind's eye, just go back and recollect how it is that you go into a temple and you perform this. Is it just you offering things that way, or is it the art that you're performing and you as an artist are connecting? Do the lines blur? Do you feel one with the entire act of it? And that is where you need to completely merge. So it's like a painter, he is so engrossed in the colors of his canvas and the art that he's doing, the designs, the flow, everything, that he's one with each stroke of it, with each color, with each dab. So it's important for you also to kind of, it's important for you also to kind of merge with that completely, where you are the three leaves that you are offering and putting on that shivling, the water that you're pouring. So it's like the performance artist who is completely submerged in his art when you offer that in a temple. Okay. The next is the question is, when we worship the shivling, all right, we look at the Nandi bulls over there. Now, to highlight this, the Nandi bull is not some peace loving animal. It's a bull, it's wild. We've kept it over there and we think, oh, it's so sweet loving and everything. And then we have those entire ideas where we do that and we try and see the shivling through the horns and things of that sort, or we're whispering something in the ear. So understand that these are wild creatures who fight with each other for the living. The wild side is there in that. Okay. People try to see the shivling through the through the bull's horns, and there is also a tortoise, the kachwa, that's kept over there. Okay, so understand something. When you enter the temple, you're moving from east to west. Okay, the opening of the temple is in the east, and where you're moving to the shivling is the west. Once you come from the entrance into that enclosed space where the shivling is there, um, the leaf, the basin. Okay, so I'm going to call that basin the yoni as the leaf, okay, in which the shivling is kept. Okay, so Parvati comes and says that, okay, I'll come to that later. Okay, so you come into that, all right, and the basin, the yoni, faces the north direction. So when you pour water into that gada that's there and on the shivling or the snake that people keep sometimes, all the water flows towards the north direction. When you offer the bilva leaves, the dhatura, which is the poisonous plant, and sometimes in Kashi and all, they offer the hemp also. Uh, but when you're offering that, understand all of the water flows towards the north. And that is when the water that you're offering becomes amrit, because it's going in the north direction, as opposed to the opposite direction of north, which is south, where we have where death rituals are performed. When you go into villages of various places, you will realize that that's where death rituals are performed, but you are working the opposite direction. So the next time you go into the temple and you pour the water, understand that this is the flow of life that you are offering as Amrit, and it's not just something you say Om Namah Shiva and you keep pouring over there and leave it and go sort of thing. It is your life and that you're pouring in there, and you realize that's how it flows within you, because that's an entire circle that you are also connected with when you're holding that vessel. Okay. There is one part you will always realize, that in the temple of Shiv, you can never go 360 degrees around his shivling. Okay. There is one part at the end that's always a little blocked and you can't circle it. So the act of doing this, when you are in the act, just completely immerse yourself in this performance, because you realize there's no coming back from that. You are flowing with the water, you're flowing with those directions, and you continue to move out over there. There is no circular bit that's happening over there. Okay, in this ritual and performance. So the question in all of this is, what are you really experiencing when you go into the temple, when you're doing this? And we do it so, and you'll see a lot of people come and do other things. Some people will clap and they'll do all of this and things of that sort. So you'll come and see a lot of people. And I think they do that because it's the Bhoot Pret and all, which Shiva is also the god of. Okay. The question is, what are you really experiencing? Do you see yourself in your mind's eye as the human being who is performing this entire act? You are the artist. What you are doing is performing the art of it. My question is, how connected and submerged are you in the entire thing? Instead of just saying Om Namah Shivaya, putting the water and leaving, when we feel like, let's say for Shravan right now, there's Shiv Tattva very heavily present in the universe, or that's what they say. How much are we fully absorbing it in every movement of placing the leaves, of the flowers, of the ash, of the water, of understanding where the water is flowing? So my point here is, just try and come into being more mindful with every move that you're doing. Okay. So there are a lot of stories of Shiva that way, but the idea of the shivling, okay, the shivling itself, is that Shiva is standing right there. He's right there for you and he's not ready to move. He is the ascetic who's refusing to participate in the world. He does not want to come and be over there, which is why he is the one who's doing tapasya on the mountain of Kailash Parvat. And it is ice cold over there because all the heat that's there, he has generated, he keeps circulating that within. There is no release of energy. And it keeps circulating without any release, which is why Kailash Parvat is so cold. Now, the thing is, Goddess Parvati comes over there and she comes like a leaf trough, the yoni, the basin that holds him. And she says, in which he's being held. He says, why are you up there alone in that mountain? You know, you need to come here. What is the point of knowing all of that information if it cannot go out to the common man? So she holds him, she engages him with the world, and she brings him. So when you stand over there near that shivling, and you're pouring that water and you're seeing the flow, you need to understand that he is right there. He is that ascetic who does not want to move. She brings him over there, and that is privilege to understand to be there. So when you go into a temple the next time, fully connect with what is being depicted over there. Whether you go to a small one in a corner or you go to one of the 12 Jyotirlingas, just understand what you're looking at, what you're connecting. Even if you have your shivling at home, just understand that you're not just pouring water over there and wishing for something, but more than what you're wishing for is magic right there. That someone who wanted to get away from the world has been brought in a Shiva Shakti form and is placed right there for you to experience and live. Okay. So she says that what is the use if you don't meet the people, if you don't engage with them, if you don't teach them? So what she tells is, so Parvati tells Shiva that you go to Kashi in Kashi, you reside as Kashi in Kashi Vishwanath, and you interact with people. Go over there, where the waters are, sit with them on the steps, talk to them, share your knowledge, and take the darshan from people. Give the darshan also. You know, see how people interact, talk, share. So it is in this process that Shiva becomes Shankara. He leaves that ascetic space of his in the mountains and he comes to interact with you and talk to you. Ascetic becomes the householder. That is why the many names that he has. He has Uma Shankar, he has Gauri Shankar. That is how he has got these names. So when you're praying to him, I'm not saying get into his 1008 names, but I'm just saying realize that this is the main aspect of the God that you're looking at and worshiping and you're trying to absorb. Okay. Okay. So now when his grace is participating in the world, his blessings are there in the form of Ganesha, who gives abundance to the world. And it is also there in the form of Kartikeya, his son, who gives protection, who's the warrior. Now understand that there are two main factors that each human being functions from: the hunger and fear. Okay, bhook and bhay, hunger and fear. It is also somewhere related to your fight and flight mode that your main central nervous system works with. So when you have fear, it goes into flight mode. And when you have hunger, you will go to any crazy extent to fight and get that one morsel of food or that one drop of water. You've heard a lot of stories of other sadhus and all of that who have gone to crazy extents to just get few drops of water. So that is the fight mode, and your fear is the flight mode. So you have these two main central nervous system functioning, which is bhook and bhay, which is hunger and fear. And he has blessed the world through his own children, where Ganpati is the god of abundance also, and Kartikeya takes care in terms of the warrior part of it, which is the fear, and he protects you. That is how it is. So understand this is a very abstract transformation from the hermit to the householder that he is. So when you go and put water in the shivling and the leaf-like structure that you see over there with the water flowing north, understand that it is becoming Amrit, and that is the very flow of life. Okay. The flip side of all of this, like I was telling you, is where the south direction, where rituals are performed in villages in India. The water going is a ritualistic performance that you are engaging in, that you are acting out. So it is your flow. It is not just a vessel you're holding and water is being poured and you're saying Om Namah Shivaya 5 times. It is the flow from you as much as you feel it in your body. So when you go over there, be one with the entire thing. Don't think they're two separate things. Don't just think it's a ritual. You have the artist and the art has to merge, and that is very important to fully feel his grace. Okay, like even Shiva is someone who does not discriminate. Like, for example, you see his damru. The damru is made from the skin of animals. And at that time, the lower caste were the ones who engaged in touching the skin of animals, not the higher caste. But for him, it doesn't matter. He goes over there, he says, okay, this is the damru, and he works with it. There's no discrimination of caste system. So when you go over there, why is there a separation between you and what you're doing? Understand that it is all one. You need to feel that flow of energy with his grace the whole time. And to also like add a little bit over here, that's how one is, you will see this in your mind's eye. We are going to meditate later, and I want you all to see how you walk into a temple from an aerial view, how you walk into a temple, how you do this, how you see from the bullseye, either if people clap and things of that sort, how you're pouring the water, how you place the leaf. You need to start seeing that. And that is also how Manas Puja is done. It means that you can sit on the floor in your house, completely close your eyes, and you can let your energetic body completely perform this. This is also what happens when women are having their periods, they cannot go. You sit in your space and you completely walk through the temple, you pour the water, and that is called Manas Puja when you cannot physically go with it. So I want you to connect with that energy body space of your own, because I think it's fantastic how everyone does healing work, and we're figuring out the inner children. But when there is no trauma and you're doing your basic things, then what happens to your energy body? I think we're so tuned to keep doing work on trauma and all, which is great, but just look at the simple forms and simple act of things that you're doing when you're trying to connect with his grace. Okay. Now I'm going to come with a little bit of three, the symbol of three, the three aspects. The three loka is there, the three bilva leaves, the trishul is there. The three. So what Shiva also represents is time and matter. So when I say time, it is past, present, future. Again, three. And he also represents matter, which is the rajas, tamas, and sattvic. I know it's the three gunas, but if I call it rajasic, tamasic, understand it is matter in terms of what you're doing. So he is a representation of everything that you're doing. When you feel like you were in another time and space, understand that it is him. If you are here right now, it is him. If you feel like you want to plan something where you're going, it is all him. The more you understand it, the more ease you will be able to come with being in the timeless space, which is where he functions. When he sits on the mountain and he meditates for years together, there is no concept of time. So when you guide yourself into meditation, understand that's where you need to function from, because you're connecting in his grace and you're sitting right there. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to ask for anything. It's all right there, the answer. The more you disconnect, the more you come into being the person, the Shiv that's standing right there in front of you, the more you'll be able to be at peace. Okay. And of course, the three devas and the three devis and all of that. All right. Okay, so he's also someone who does not discriminate, like I said, which is why the he didn't look at the caste system with the Damru. He also understands that everything is the same. There is no time as factor. There is no death. There is no life. It's all one space. What we also don't realize is we walk around with people doing their actions, but we don't realize that can also be a shamshan where people are so unaware, are so disconnected, uh, and that itself can be a walking graveyard, with people walking around. What you see, that does not mean it's life. The more you connect within, the more you understand who you are as a being, in the very simplest, minute, smallest detail. That's when you're really connecting. Okay. And the difference, okay, so I'm going to show you the difference between the Yagna and Tapasya, and then link it to Shravan. Okay. What I want to show you is how a goddess sits on a ascetic and she brings him to the world. Okay, so I'm just going to see this. Can you see this? Are you able? Okay, I'm just going to remove.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, so this is how A nymph sits on an ascetic and she brings him back to the world of samsara. This is how they sit and they depict that. Okay. Now I'm going to quickly tell you a couple of verses. Okay. And just to kind of add value to everything I've spoken about today. So, according to the metaphysics, all creatures, animate and inanimate, temporal and divine, are linked by karma. It is possible to change the course of life by introducing one's desires into the cosmos. And this is where I'm starting to talk about Shravan as the month which is going on right now. There's Adhik Mas also. I think last time someone wanted this angle, so I've linked it in this manner. Uh, you need to understand that desire has to be introduced with stubbornness until the cosmos has no choice but to yield and give in to one wishes. This is Hatha Yoga, or the yoga of unshakable resolve. Unshakable resolve was expressed through the act of austerity and self mortification. It is not just meditation or contemplation of the mind. Sometimes it does involve giving up food and sleep and comforts, which is what we do in terms of fasting. Okay. Parvati's actions over here are different from Shiva's. Shiva's meditation is an expression of indifference to the worldly life. Her austerities are an expression of her determination to have her way, which is a stubbornness that you need to introduce into the cosmos. He lights the inner fire, the one that burns everything around, which is why the energy is within him and Kailash Parbat is cold. He lights the inner fire, but one that burns everything around. Parvati uses the accumulated energy to force an event around her, to create it. She creates a stimulus to which Shiva has no choice but to respond. It is not a stimulus that enchants Shiva, it is a stimulus that demands his attention. It's like a child. I mean, when a child does something, you have no choice but to get into it. You may not want to bother it, but you have to go and see it because it demands your attention. That is how Shiva, that is how Parvati brings Shiva into this world. Okay. Uh, then I have page number 70. Okay. Here's the Shravan bit of it and a little about the fasting. So in India, women seeking good husbands emulate Parvati, and even those who are married can do this. On particular days of the week, such as Monday, associated with the moon god and Shiva, they fast in hope of getting a husband of their choice. The fasting is called vrata, and observance, an abbreviated form of Parvati's penance that enables one to get what they desire. So every Monday in Shravan, when you are fasting, you are looking for certain desires to be fulfilled, which you need to stubbornly push into the cosmos, that it gives you what you want, and it demand when you demand the attention, then it will reciprocate. Okay. A vrata is a personal ritual not one that is performed by priest. It involves not just ritual acts but complete focus of the mind and the heart of the desired result. Vrata is concerned to be an important ritual act through one can manipulate the working of the cosmos. It is an internalized yagna. And I will come to you also with the difference of what yagna and tapasya is. Okay. The aim is not to change one's view of the world, but to change the world itself around you. So Shiva opens his eyes and agree to be Parvati's groom. Okay. That's it. Okay. And I am going to give you the difference between yagna and tapasya. Okay. So what happens is the difference between yagna and yoga tapasya. One, the yagna is seek to appease the gods, which is external. The yoga tapasya is internal. It seeks to appeal the god within you. Vedic mantras are chanted in the external one. Vedic mantras are contemplated upon in the internal one. This is outward looking. This is inward looking. It involves rituals. It involves austerities. So when you go and you pray, you understand what you're doing. Are you doing just the outward rituals, or is this also being connected within with you? Even when Shaman is going on, we have this elaborate offering that happens. So are you just doing the yagna of it, or are you doing the internal yoga tapasya also of it? Okay. The yagna outside seeks to change the world. The yoga tapasya seeks to change the perception of the inner world. This is popular amongst householders, the families. The yoga tapasya is popular amongst people who are hermits, such as the ascetics, the Bhairagyas. Okay. This is aligned to the social structure. This rejects the social structure. This is only for your internal world. It involves lighting an outer fire. This involves lighting your inner fire, which is a lot of Shiva. And this is world affirming. This is world renouncing. So in this is where Shiv comes to Shankara, and that is the entire talk for today. So thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Good. Now I'd like to bring in a little bit more, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
Okay. The Damru is both Shiv and Shakti, because it has both sides. And when you tap into both the sides, it's tapping into your Shiv Tattva as well as your Shakti Tattva. So that's why Damru is the only drum which is on the sides. As you said, na? Shiva to Shankara.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we go into the Garbhagriha of many North Indian temples, I'm not many South Indian temples, but where when the Shivling, the spout of the Shivling is on the north, you see Parvati sitting on the east, Ganesh sitting on the west, and Kartikeya sitting on the south. How natural it is with the country where Shakti is celebrated in West Bengal, Ganesh is celebrated in Maharashtra,
and
Kartik in the south. I'm just bringing these, as you were speaking, and you told me to take the eagle's point of view.
Yes.
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 It's actually beautiful the way it is. And they also say Shiv resides in your crown chakra, and Parvati resides in your, at the root. And when she goes up to the crown to bring Shiva down, so she is the one who travels to the crown. That's the Kundalini awakening. Look at it in your own body. And when she brings Shiva down, it's to the heart, through which he spreads what he has within himself.
Yes, that's right.
So that's all I wanted to add, like how it is all within us.
Yeah. Which is why they also say it is the 6 chakras and the 7th state of being. That's what you continue to stay there as and continue being in that space. The merged state of Shiva and Shakti. Yeah. Okay.
Shall we begin the meditation?
Yes.
A minute.
Who have been brought to you, right there to connect. Okay, the music will pick up towards the end of the song, and your energy body needs to start chanting over there in the temple space. Okay, so we begin now.
सच्चार चर पर पूर्णा शिवोऽहं सच्चार चर पर पूर्णा शिवोऽहं नित्यानन्द स्वरूपा शिवोऽहं 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 सच्चारचर परपूर्णा शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं नित्यानन्दस्वरूपा शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं नित्यानन्दस्वरूपा शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् आनन्दोऽहम् 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 शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं सच्चर परपूर्णो शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं नित्यानन्दस्वरूपा शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं नित्यानन्दस्वरूपा शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् आनन्दोऽहम् 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 आनन्दोऽहम्
Still that warm. So let's move from the Shiv to the Shankara state by wriggling our fingers and wriggling our toes, gently opening our eyes and coming back into the here and now, into what we call as the ordinary reality. Thank you, Neha, for bringing us to the state of Shankara to Shiva and Shiva
Thank
back into Shankara.
Thank
you
you so
so
much.
much.
Thank you, everyone, for coming and
Thank you
being
so
Thank you,
much,
everyone.
Neha.
Thank you, Neha.
Thank you,
so
Thanks,
Neha.
Neha.
It is so
much.
beautiful. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. It's been an honor. Thank you for coming and being part of it.
And before
If you
you
could
say
put
thank
this up.
you, Neha, I would want every one of you to say words of encouragement for Neha to come again and what
True.
changed your lives. It makes so much of a difference when someone says something positive about someone doing something here. So please do.
I will go to the temple now with a new awareness, a different perception.
Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly the difference I'm trying to hope for. And I truly pray that it happens for each one of you present here and everyone who will watch this later.
Thank you so
Um,
much. Neha, you have a very nice way of putting things and in a very simplified manner. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank
if it's
you.
possible to, put this up at least in our group.
I'd
So
like to
that,
add one more thing over here. When we
right.
put the water in the copper vessel, what is copper signifying? With which planet?
Mars?
Do one thing, let's Google it. And the whole concept of going into the temple and waiting in the queue was to chant with your hands in that, holding that. And we say Om Namah Shivaya. Om is the sound of the universe. Namah Shivaya are the five elements. It's all about balancing your five elements,
Oh,
right? And the universe has all the planets. Now start thinking how you are going to the temple. 108 times is the time you are surrendering to the divine and waiting for your turn while someone else finishes their puja, their sadhana. And here today, nowadays, I see in the temples, everybody's around and everybody's just dumping everything.
True. True.
So at least in our meditative state, let's do this one little action of holding the copper kalash, filling it with water, and surrendering to Shiva.
And coppers for Venus.
She's Googled it. And it's also said that it is that in all these Navagrahas, all these like when you go to Saturn, what's it? I'm sorry, all the Navagrahas, Suryaya, Chandraya, Mangalaya, Buddhyacha, Guru, Shukra, Shani, Vyasa, Rahave, Ketave. When you go to these temples down south, you have to first go to Shiva. He's always there at the entrance. You have to first pay homage to him, and then enter the temple. Because he's holding all the planets in his hand. That's what they say.
Holding all the planets.
So when I did that, when I went down south and did this, I was told by the priest that you have to first go there, pour this thing, light the lamps, and then go inside.
And we will meet again with another aspect to Shiva.
Oh.
Yeah, the whole of Shravan is only Shiva. There's so much to him. And I want
True.
you to tell me who's going to talk next. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Neha.
Thank you, everyone.
What an honor. Thank you.